Alen Babic versus Eric Molina. I think we all got what we expected in this fight. Alen Babic, tremendously entertaining in and out of the ring, comes into the ring to the music from Gladiator and fights like a gladiator in the ring. Eric Molina, as always, shows that he does have skills. He is quite a slick counterpuncher, but he has absolutely no appetite for battle whatsoever. It's the same old story. It's been like this with Eric Molina for how many years now? Even against Deontay Wilder, he put up a good showing and he actually wobbled Wilder in that fight. He gave Wilder some issues with his head movement and counterpunching and whatever. But he went down several times against Wilder from shots that didn't land clean. And I don't think he was particularly hurt. I just think that he didn't fancy a real fight. Yeah, he gave it a good go, but once the heavy lever started whistling by him, he thought, you know what? Let me find a nice comfy spot on the canvas before one of those actually catches me clean. I think that was his attitude even against Wilder. And, you know, we've seen him over the years fight other people. Did he fight Hrgovic? I swear he fought Hrgovic. Etc., etc. And he does the same thing every time. I don't think Molina's chin is actually that bad. I just genuinely think that he looks for a comfy spot on the canvas once the real lever starts either catching him or gets close to catching him. And he says, you know what? I've given you guys enough. Give me my paycheck. Thank you very much. I'm off home. I think that's his attitude. And that's what he did here against Alen Babic. He did take a good shot in the opening seconds of the bout, which put him down. And he did look genuinely dazed. And when he got to his feet, he was actually slinging some dangerous looking shots back at Alen Babic, right hands and counters. And there was some decent speed on those shots as well from Eric Molina. But yeah, once Babic was able to take him, then Molina mentally checked out. He was like, nah, I'm done here. Give me my check, Eddie. And as Eddie Hearn said at the post-fight press conference, the last knockdown, I was screaming at the time at the referee. I was like, that's not a knockdown. Why is the referee calling that a knockdown? Because Babic hit Molina with a shot in the corner, which did land. But then Babic got Molina in a headlock and they were kind of wrestling around and Molina went down because of Babic's weight on the back of his neck. That is not a knockdown. In a scenario like that, you tell Molina to get up. If you're the referee, get up. That wasn't no knockdown. Get up. You wipe his gloves off. He's at least going to have to take a punch before he goes down. Come on. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Babic dispatched of Molina more quickly than his stablemate Fabio Wardley. Is it more impressive than Wardley's performance? You would have to say yes. Wardley gave Molina the time and space which Babic didn't give Molina. And that's why Babic was able to get the job done more quickly, even though he's wild and he swings. Although he was being a bit more careful again this time, similar to how he was in the Bennett fight, where he wouldn't just fly in. He would actually stay outside of range and fence with his left hand a little bit and look for an opportunity, you know, wait for Molina maybe to throw a shot or wait for Molina to feint back and then he would do something. Yeah, so he is thinking a little bit more about what he does. And I guess that's always been there in his arsenal from his amateur days, because he did have a decent amount of amateur fights apparently over there in Croatia. So he was thinking a little bit more because he could see that Molina had pretty fast hands when he was letting him go and he's got a powerful right. So he was, you know, being a little bit more careful, but nonetheless, he was still applying a lot of pressure. And when he did get into range, hellacious shots were flying. Hellacious shots. He didn't allow Molina to old man him the way that Fabio Wardley did. Yeah, as I say, Wardley gave him the time and space. This is how styles make fights. Wardley gave him the time and space. And if you do that with Molina, he can old man you a little bit. You got to get on him. You got to intimidate him. You got to hit him with something hard as early as you can. And, you know, that's what Babic did. And also because Babic is short compared to Molina, comes in with his head down, it's more awkward for Molina to catch him with counters, whereas Fabio Wardley is a tall guy, 6'4", 6'5", stands straight up a lot of the time. Easier for Molina to see the target and connect with the target, you know. So anyway, Babic rolls on. They're talking about the possibility of a fight with Dave Allen. Allen hasn't, well, actually, he has fought recently, hasn't he? Did he have a fight at the Doncaster Dome or something? A little comeback fight? You know, he said he was going to retire for good, and all these different people were interviewed in the boxing industry saying Dave Allen's a great guy, we support his decision. Now he's back. I mean, Dave Allen, I think, is still in his 20s, right? Not surprising that he's decided to come back. He has changes in his mood and the way he feels about boxing and the way he feels about life. Inevitably, when you've been boxing from a young age, you're going to come back to the sport. Here's me in my 40s, and I still want to go down to the gym and hit the bags and train and spar and all this kind of stuff. Even now in my 40s. Yeah. So when you have the bug, it never really leaves you. Maybe if I'd had a real tough professional career, I never fought as a professional. If I had a real tough professional career, it would have knocked some of that out of me. But Dave Allen, he has had a tough career, to be fair. But like I say, still in his 20s. Maybe after a rest, that fire starts building up inside you again. And you're like, okay, I want to go again. You know? And I think as well, Dave Allen was knocked for 6 by that David Price fight. Psychologically, because he was riding the crest of a wave. He'd beaten Lucas Brown. And I think people were getting a little carried away with him. And the David Price fight brought him right back down to reality, you know. And of course, then there was the sparring incident with Alexander Usyk. But again, after seeing what Usyk did to Joshua, maybe that's given Dave Allen some encouragement, because Usyk was able to hurt Joshua, yeah, in a similar fashion to how he hurt Dave Allen. Obviously, it was in sparring with bigger gloves and headgear and whatever, but still, Dave Allen might look at it and say, okay, well, Usyk is beating the top guys now, so maybe it wasn't such a terrible thing for me to be getting hurt by this guy in the gym. So let's see. I've always liked the Babic-Dave Allen fight. If Dave Allen actually comes in shape, motivated, and tries hard, it's a good fight. He always could take a shot, Dave Allen. The sparring footage against Usyk notwithstanding, he could always take a shot. So it's a fight I like. As Eddie Hearn said, though, it would be good if Dave Allen could get a fight in between. And Hearn says that he won't make the fight unless he's convinced that Dave Allen is in a good place mentally and that he's in shape and he's actually going to come to try win. That sounds hot. I suspect Eddie Hearn will make the fight anyway. I mean, he's talking about being careful with Alen Babic. He's been saying that for the past year or so. But then he was going to throw Babic in with Otto Wallin to save the show. He actually made Wallin an offer. So all this stuff that Eddie Hearn comes out with, you know, he cares so much about the welfare of this fighter and that fighter. Yeah, I don't really believe it a lot of the time. I think there are certain fighters Eddie Hearn genuinely cares for. And I'm not saying Eddie Hearn is a psychopath or anything like that, but, you know, he's a little bit more of a hard-nosed businessman than he makes on at times. Yeah. And he was willing to throw Babic in there to save the show against Otto Wallin. So as far as who Babic fights next, if it isn't Dave Allen, they're talking about putting him in there, potentially against the guy who Oscar Rivas just beat for the WBC Bridgerweight title. Apparently Babic wants to fight Rivas himself. I think that's a step too far. Rivas is a skilled fighter, strong. So I think that's a bit too soon for Alen Babic. But hey, if he wants to do it, and he does have a decent amateur background, maybe they are going to take the gamble and say, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's have him fight Rivas for the Bridgerweight title. Imagine Babic in his 9th fight, fighting for a world title or winning a world title. And obviously, the Bridgerweight title is not like a heavyweight title. It's not like a cruiserweight title because there's hardly any Bridgerweights out there. Yeah. But nevertheless, it would still be a good thing for Babic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who would you like to see him in there with next. Come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide range of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&A sessions, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got a Discord server where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. There's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.